Okay, so this is my first attempt at recording anything really, so this is going to be interesting. But I recently found out about Gaia Project's Steam version by Digidice being able to implement scenarios, and it's the something that I was very interested in because I quite like playing Gaia Project with friends. I've used some of the fan faction boards that people have made over on Board Game Geek quite a lot. I've probably played, somewhere in the region of, probably about somewhere between 50 and 70 games of Gaia Project in my life. It's a game I think is very, very good. And I've heard that these scenarios can be quite difficult. And I went on YouTube and I saw that no one was really making much content for any of this stuff. And I thought, well, if I'm going to enjoy myself playing these games, I may as well see what I can get out of them, and potentially help other people who are struggling with them, because as I said, I've heard that they're quite hard. I gave this first one a go, as you can see, on the lowest level of difficulty, just to see the kind of thing that was going to happen. I did win it. I think this first one might be, from what I've read, the easiest of all of the scenarios, so that makes sense. But they're all basically games of Gaia Project that have variant rules that are all quite interesting. And in this first one, the Spice Must Flow, you have to play as the Atars, which is a white faction, which I'll get to in a moment. And you have to have a certain thing to do to achieve victory over and above what you would normally need to do to get victory in Gaia Project. So not only do you have to have the higher score, which is how you would normally win in Gaia Project, but you also have to be in all 10 sectors at the first point of difficulty. But as you increase the difficulty, you will see on level 4 difficulty, you have to actually be able to colonize at least 3 desert planets, as well as being in all 10 sectors and winning the game in its normal fashion. So the one upshot of that is that the special rule is that whenever you place a mine on a desert planet, so kind of to help you in this endeavor, you can either gain 2 quicks, which I will explain what they do once we get into the game, 8 credits, which is money, or you can get some points. So depending on how early in the game you are or what you need, so if you're earlier in the game, you probably want some of the resources, and later on in the game you probably want some victory points to do this. And the way you would do this, you play against 3 different races in this one, so it's a 4-player game, which is actually how I'm used to playing. I've only ever played Gaia Project really at 4 players. Playing with a reduced player count is not something I usually do, because in my board gaming group we usually have at least 4 players who would like to play the game. And so this is definitely more in my wheelhouse than I've seen. Some of the other scenarios are more like 1-on-1 or 3 players, but I know that this one is 4 players because I've given it a go at the first level of difficulty. And now this is definitely a bit of hubris on my part, but I'm going to see if I can do this at the 4th level of difficulty and see how that works. And I thought I'd record this attempt, because if it goes, okay, I want to see, whether this strategy that I have in mind is viable on 4-star. And I'll explain the strategy when we get into the game. So I'm going to click play. So this is Gaia Project's digital implementation. If you don't know about the digital implementation, it's on Steam, and I bought it just recently because it was on offer on the Steam Workshop for the summer sale. And so this game called Gaia Project has you playing as a faction of a specific kind of race. Each faction is very asymmetric in how they play. They will have different abilities, different ways of playing, and they also all start on different planets. So for each planet's color, there, as you can see on the top here, there are 3. There are there's correction. There are 2 faction types. So there's if you have the physical boards, you would have one side would be one faction, and the other side of the same color would be a different faction. So each planet has two factions, and in this challenge we're playing as the Ethars, which is one of the white factions. The reason that it's important to know which faction you are, slash which color you are, is as you can see on the top here, different planets are kind of slightly different, further away from your planet type. And the further away from your planet type they are, the harder they are to colonize effectively. So the aim of the game is to get the most points, and the way that you get the most points is through what I describe as a point salad. So you can get points by doing various actions, and those actions will change game to game. So this is the round scoring bonus here. So on round 1, you get points for building on green planets. On round 2, you get points for upgrading your big buildings, and the same will be happening on round 3. On round 4, you'll get points for upgrading to trading posts. On round 5, for doing a terraform action for each step that you have to terraform, which I'll explain in a moment, you get 2 points. And the final one, again, you're getting points for going on a green planet, but slightly fewer. And this is completely random. If you play Gaia Project before, then you'll know that this is a completely randomized thing. It's not only these 6 options, there's a whole bunch of options that can come out, and then you have 6 of those all placed in a random order. There are also 2 endgame scoring criteria, and this will also change every game. And so in this game, the first endgame scoring one is to be in the most sectors. So that's interesting because we saw in the scoring thing that we need to be in all 10 sectors, so that's something we want to do anyway. And we also want to colonize 3 desert planets, which means that if we look back here, being in all the sectors is one of them, and this one here is having the most satellites, which I will get to later on. These here are the round booster tiles. So at the start of each round of the game, at the start of the game, in reversed player order, so we are considered first player in this scenario. In reverse player order, these will be chosen, and you get this extra bonus income and or ability if it's got an orange ring around it to use once in a round. And then when you pass, you will put one back, and then you will take another one that hasn't yet been taken by someone else that isn't currently occupied. So that's the flow of the game. On your turn, you'll do a single action, and then you'll wait for the next person to do a single action. What I mentioned about the planets being harder to colonize as you go along, you can only, in theory, colonize planets of your own color. The way to make a planet your own color would be to do a single terraforming action, so one step of terraforming. Also, for those who have played Terra Mystica, sometimes colloquially called a dig, because of the kind of sister game to Gaia Project is Terra Mystica, and that will instead of terraforming, you kind of you change the terrain, and often people use spades or digs in Terra Mystica. And because a lot of my friends who play board games play Terra Mystica before they played Gaia Project, I happened to play Gaia Project first, but a lot of them played Terra Mystica before they played Gaia Project, and so the term dig definitely is used a lot more. So if I say that word, I mean a terraforming step. So if I say, oh, that's 2 digs away, I mean that's 2 terraforming steps away. And so here, if we have a look at the action space, there's an ability to get a terraforming step in this action, or 2 terraforming steps in this action, and there are various other ways of getting terraforming steps, but one of which, as you saw, is the round boost as well. You can get a single action to get 1 free terraforming step. Normally, you would otherwise have to pay for your terraforming steps. So when at the start of the game, everyone's terraforming step costs 3 ore per step, and ore is not very easy to come by, and so spending 3 is, sort of a big no-no. You don't want to do that. But if you go up, this is the tech tracks basically, and each technology track offers you different bonuses, and there's different reasons that you might want to go up each. So going up this first one makes the terraforming cheaper. Reaching the top of any of the tracks gives you kind of a very lovely bonus, and that's very, very friendly. But what you want to do is get to the top of one of the tracks, usually early, or getting one of the special tech tiles. And the way that you get move up this is by spending science. So the game is a very, very big balancing act of trying to get the right resources to be able to go up these technology tracks to make sure that you can build your buildings, because trying to get further afield, trying to colonize new planets can be harder if you haven't gone up the dig track, or it can be harder if you haven't gone up the range track, the navigation range track, and it can be difficult to go on green planets, which you can see is kind of separated off to one side because they require these quicks, which is what I mentioned at the start of the game. One of the special rules of this one is if I can go to a desert planet, which is this yellow planet type here, which you can see is 3 whole terraforming steps away from my planet, so it's quite difficult to get to, and I need to get 3 of those in this game. And in order to do that more reliably, I probably need to go up the dig track at some point in the game. And if we have a look at the factions I'm against Terrans, who are a blue faction, I'm against Hajhalis, who are a red faction, and I'm against the Geodins, who are an orange faction. So straight off the bat, you can see why this might be considered the easiest of these scenarios, because red and blue are both kind of sandwiched in terms of colours, where blue will not have an easy time getting to their own colour planets, because red and white, for the neighbouring colour planets, so the single step planets, because red and white are already going to be easily taken by both me as Itars and red as Hajhalis. Then the same problem is true of Hajhalis. The blue ones will likely be taken by the Terrans fairly easily, and the orange ones will likely be taken by the Geodins very easily. For this is kind of if you imagine this as a circle, so for the Geodins, the desert planets are only 1 step away, because you kind of follow that round, and then this would be 2 steps away from them, this would be 3 steps away from them, and I am also 3 steps away from orange. But it's this desert planet type that I'm most interested in. For the win condition, I need at least 3. So at some point, I'm going to either have to do some very, very expensive builds, which I'm kind of usually reticent to do. It's very rare in a game I'll colonize more than a single 3-step terraforming step planet. I might do 2 if the end game criteria of the game is to trying to get as many different planet types as possible, because as I mentioned, this end game scoring criteria, instead of being in every sector and number of satellites, it could have been different planet types. So in that instance, then I might go for, if I were white, I might go for 1 desert planet and 1 orange planet, so one yellow and 1 orange planet. But in this instance, I'm going to be focusing on these yellow planets, and I'm going to have to hope, as we can see here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yellow planets, and I need to colonize half of those. So I need to make sure that I get there at least fairly soon in the game. So when we start the game, what you can see here is that we have I have to place a mine. So when you start the game, unless you are a specific race who only places 1 building or places 3 buildings, which there's 1 faction who places 1 building, there's 1 faction who places 3 buildings, everyone else will place 2 mines at the start of the game. So mines are the ones that get you ore income. And the way the game works is, if you are on a planet already, you may upgrade a mine to a trading station, and then if you want to, you can upgrade a trading station either directly to your PI, so it's one of your big buildings, or you can upgrade it to a research lab, and then that research lab can then be upgraded to a different type of big building, which is the academy. And then there's what is called the left academy and the right academy. The left academy will give you science, and the right academy will usually be a coverable action. Depending on the race, it might be slightly different to this, but the usual coverable action is gaining a single quick. So that is, as a full action, so on your turn, the one thing that you do on your turn is gain a quick. That's what this kind of symbology means. So if it's orange with something inside it, it's on your turn, you spend this action to get this thing. There are always 3 actions that you can do on your turn. So that is exchange. And so over and above any full actions that you do, you can freely exchange stuff. So that's just something to keep in mind. So one of the reasons that I found the 1-star one kind of easy, not only because the AI is on it in easier mode, which now they're on their hardest mode, as you can see in brackets, they're on hard, but also the Itars are quite special in that their faction can do quite well in building either the left big building or the right big building in round 1. So something that you will see is that the Itars start with an extra ore compared to the average faction. We'll ignore the Geodens, because the Geodens, the reason they have 2 more is they actually started 1 up this track here, and by starting 1 up this track here, they've got this 2 extra ore, but they won't be able to receive that bonus during the game. They've already got it before the start of the game. But you can see I've started with an extra ore, which is really useful to trying to get a big building early on. But also, this big building here allows them to get 3 structures, 3 science income per turn. And the reason that's important is every other faction's one here, you can see the Terrans only have 2, the Hedgehalas only have 2, and the Geodens only have 2. So the Itars are the only race in the game that have a +3 science income on this left big building here, which is potentially the kind of the starting point of a major strategy in Gaia Project for the Itars, which is trying to build this in round 1. That is usually difficult, but the way that you can think about this is in round 1, you are guaranteed to have 8 ore and 15 money. The reason I say 8 ore is because you are guaranteed to have the 5 that you've started with, and the 1 by base you get on your board, and the 2 extra you get for placing those first 2 mines, because you place them before the first round of income. So we place 2 mines each, and then, and only then, will the first round start, and the first thing that happens in the first round is income. And so we will get, each of us will get 3 more ore than we currently have. Currently here, this small number here, each of us it's saying we're only getting 1 because we haven't placed our mines yet, but as soon as we do, it will say 2, and then 3 once we place the second mine as well. So the small numbers are the amount of income we get. And the reason getting the extra science per turn is important is if you have 4 science, you can go up a single step on any one of the tracks. So 4 science is 1 step on 1 track. And the reason that's quite important, which is symbolized here, the reason that's quite important is the Itars have the ability, depending on game setup, to have 8 science income per turn by the end of round 1. The way they do that is utilizing this tile here and getting to the top, getting to step 3 of this track here. So what they will do is they will use their starting 4 science, so there's 3 plus 1 because they have a 1 by base on their board, to go up to level 1 of this, giving them an extra income. They will also be able to get a tech tile. Sorry, I meant to go here. Whenever you build either of these 2 types, the 2 science buildings types, so either the academies or the research labs, if you build any of those, you get to take what is called a tech tile. Early on in the game, you can only get the basic tech tiles, which are these here. So there's 6 that are for specific technologies, and these are randomly placed at the start of a normal game. Obviously, in this scenario, they're always set to be the same because it's a scenario, but under normal conditions, this is what you would have. 6 under any random one, and then 3 that can be associated with any one of your choice. And given the current setup, I can see that I can utilize the potential to get +6 per turn. +8 science per turn, because I can go, when you take one of these technology tiles, you also get a free move up either its associated one, or if it's one of these bottom 3, up any one of your choice. So what you're able to do, given this, is I could take this +1 science and +1 coin, and to move that up to the second one here, and then for the third one, I could take this +4 coin per turn, and go up to the third one here. So I would have 3 science per turn from this track. I would have an extra science per turn from this tactile, which would give me 4 science per turn. And then my own board would have 1 by base, plus another 3 from this big building, which would be another 4, so 4 plus 4 is 8. So that is something that only the Itars can achieve in round 1, by the end of round 1 of a game of Gaia Project. They are the only faction that this is possible for, and when I tried this at 1 star, that worked for me, and I won by about 60 points. Of course, I was likely to win by a huge margin because I was against an easy AI, but well, 3 easy AIs. But that is the strategy that worked for me, and I am wondering, even though it does mean that I'm foregoing potentially, well, I'm almost certainly foregoing the second round bonus and the first round bonus in terms of points, because if you're doing this, there's no way you're also going to be getting a mine on a green planet because of the resources required, and also because of the resources required, there's also no way that I'm going to be getting a big building down on round 2. However, it could be the case that I can get a second big building round down on round 3 if things go my way. So if I look here, what I need for a big building on round 1 is to upgrade one of my mines to a trading station, which requires 2 ore and 3 money, so long as I have a neighbor, which I will aim to do. I'm hoping that the AI isn't foolish and, you know, separates from the single player, just because that's not how people would play in real life. So I hope that they haven't programmed them to kind of keep away from the first player. That would be awkward. It didn't seem to be the case in the easy mode, but hopefully the hard AI doesn't do that. I've not played any of these games outside of the test game that I did. So you'd need 2 ore to upgrade here, 3 more ore to upgrade here, and 6 more ore to upgrade here. So that's a total of 11 ore that you would need. As I mentioned, you'd start off with 8 ore, but really you start off with 9 ore, because in the exchange you can see that 1 quick, this green kind of green hexagon, can become an ore, and I start off with one of those. So really I've started off with 9 ore, so all I need to do is find a way of getting 2 more ore in the game, in round 1. And one of the ways of doing that is going to be if I'm lucky enough to get this in the early part of the in the first round bonus tile. So the reason I think that would help is, 1, I would actually still get points for building my big building in that first round when I wouldn't otherwise, because this symbology is when you pass. So this red arrows is upon passing, gain 4 points for every large building that you have in play. And the same symbology is used on the other 2, which is when you pass, gain 1 point for every green planet that you have colonized. And this one is when you pass, gain 2 points for every trading station that you have placed on the board. So here, this not only gives you the points for building the big building, but it also gives you 4 power generation. And why is that important? Well, here you can see that in order to, sorry, didn't mean here. If you look down here, you can see that I would start with 4 power in bowl 4, and, sorry, in bowl 3, 4 power in bowl 2, and no power in bowl 1. Or, depending on how you describe them, I think it's actually called 1, 2, 3. So you spend from 1 to 2, and then from 2 to 3, and then once you are in 3, you can then use that to do actions. So if I go here now, you can see that some of the actions require power. So this is spend 3 spendable power, so it has to be in the top bowl here, and get 2 new discs entirely, so more things to move stuff around. 3 to get a free dig, 4 can get either 2 science, or 7 money, or 2 ore, which is, or like, you know, 2 resources to build stuff with. So that could be a way of generating the other 2, because if I start with an extra 4 power charged, then I suddenly have 8 power in bowl 2 to start the game, which means all I need to do is charge 4 power across my first few turns, and suddenly I can get access to this 2 ore, which means I can build my big building in round 1, because in terms of money, which I start off with 15, and everyone starts off with 15, apart from Hajj Halas, who start off with an extra income of 5. They will I will be able to... Where am I? With this +4, I will have 8. And hopefully that will mean that I can build this. And I mentioned money. In order to upgrade, I need 3 money to upgrade there, 5 more money to upgrade there, and 6 money to upgrade there. So that's 11 plus 3, which is 14. So I start off with enough money. So I do not need any extra money to upgrade to this left big building. And I'm going to see if getting basically 2 techs per turn minimum is a viable strategy to win this scenario. So now that I've mentioned what my idea is, and kind of my theory crafting, I now have to think where to place my starting planets, where I'm most likely to get a neighbor so I can ensure that I can get one of those cheap upgrades. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here to try and encourage the AI to place their first orange planet or their second orange planet, because the way this happens is it snakes. So it's going to be me, and then second player will place 1, third player will place 1, fourth player will place 2 mines, third player will place their mine, second player will place their second mine, and then I will place my second mine last. So what I want to do is encourage orange or red to place nearby me. And if I go here, I could be orange or blue, and that might be more sensible because they're less likely to want to get over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my first mine here. And we'll see what the AI does. So first I have to confirm what I'm doing. And I'm hoping that the AI, by the time it gets around to my turn, will have placed... that's a very odd placement from the AI. So it seems that the AI might not be placing, unless they're seeing something that I can't see. But, okay, yeah. So the AI isn't necessarily as strong as I was assuming they would be, because they're placing in what I would argue is suboptimal ways. So my second one would go here, because I will have a neighbor with this one to have a cheap upgrade here as well. So one of the reasons my first one was here was, one, I was like there were 2 planets that were likely to be having things that nearby, rather than here. Only blue would be able to slot next to me, either here or here. This was unexpected as far as I was concerned, because it's right tucked away in the corner. However, they do start off with a quick, so they might use that to jump to here, because a quick can be used to extend your range by 2. So everyone starts off with normally only being able to colonize immediately adjacent planets. However, if you use a quick, you can increase that range by 2. The way you colonize green planets is also by spending a quick. So you can spend 1 quick as well as the normal cost to build a mine. There's no terraforming steps involved. It just costs you 1 quick. That is telling me here, in order for me to get there, it would cost me 2 quicks. 1 to go on the green planet and 1 to extend my range by 2. Because this, if you can see, it's 1, and then plus 2 would be 1, 2. So it would cost me 2 quicks, as well as the quick to place on the planet. Whereas here, you can see it's going to tell me it's going to cost 10 ore, and a quick, because I would need a quick to extend my range by more than adjacency. And I would need to spend 3 ore per terraforming step, which is 3 terraforming steps. So that would be 9 ore to terraform to my planet as in its current state, and then 1 ore and 2 coins for the mine, because it's always 1 ore and 2 coins for the mine. So I'm going to confirm that. The reason I've placed it like this is, even if I don't get access to the round booster that I'm hopeful for, so the free dig almost always goes early, and then the range extender has gone to Hajhalis, so their one makes a little bit more sense. They have taken 1 ore and 1 science. So now my play that I was thinking about is actually still open to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and I'm going to see if I can get access to what I was hoping to do. Now, sadly, I have only got the 1 neighbor on either of my planets. I was hoping to get 2 neighbors on my planets. But I've only got the 1. So I start off with an extra token income. So I've got 9 tokens now. And what I'm hoping to do here is see if I can get to... yeah, so see if I can get to upgrading my building. So the first things I'm going to do is upgrade that, because I'm going to hope that they upgrade this. Now, in theory, I should have upgraded that, because they're most likely to upgrade that. Yeah, so that might have been a misplay on my part, because I could have got 2 power instead of just the 1. So I would have been closer to getting that 2 ore that I was hoping for. But it's not the end of the world just yet. So now orange will give either of us 2 power for 1 point. And, okay. So I was hopeful that they would upgrade this one, not this one. But I suppose it makes... Yeah, this is why I was surprised they placed here, because they placed their first one here, which was not a surprise, but the second one here. That was a very big surprise, because they're so close to one another. So, yeah, I basically played the 50-50 card and played it wrong. I should have probably upgraded here, but I assumed that given that the AI started over here, they had a plan on what to do with that planet. I thought they might jump to using their quick. They haven't seemed to have done that, so, you know, more for me. Because I was basically expecting them to not upgrade this early, and I was hopeful that they would, this orange player would upgrade this one early. So it looks like my play may not be possible without burning a whole bunch of stuff. But I'm going to still try and make the play that I was going for. But in case it doesn't come off for me, instead of going for this one first, what I'm going to do is take this, because what I've done here is I've shored up my income for the kind of the remainder of the game. I'm now getting guaranteed income in terms of money and science now fairly early on, which is very useful. Yeah, so this is what I was expecting them to do early on. I wasn't expecting them to upgrade that. It does look like I might have to kind of go a bit of a weirder route than I normally would. So we'll see. So they've gone science up there. So they got their free dig and used their quick to go over there, which means they're now even less likely to upgrade. If they want another trading station, they're even less likely to upgrade near me. So that's worked out very nicely for blue. I'm now going to use my research to come up here, because I'm kind of doing a delay action. But now this means that even if I don't get my big building, I've still got 1 tech a turn in play. So there's at least that. Okay, so I get... Yeah, so now it is definitely an error on my part that I've not upgraded this one. Just, yeah, because I've now missed out on 2 power charge. So instead of having 3 in bowl 1, in bowl 3, I have only the 1 in bowl 3, and that's a big difference. So I'm now debating with myself whether or not I should increase, have a very, very weird first turn, basically, and burn some of my power tokens early on. One of the reasons I'm reticent to do that is that the Itars want to have access to their power tokens. Ah, no, the Itar's second ability, I forget, is to push stuff into their Gaia Bowl. So in fact, I am going to do my exchange and go 1, and I'm going to do that 3 times. So I'll have 3 in my Gaia Bowl, which basically means they're not usable for the rest of this round, but they'll come back after the income phase of the next round. This is something special to the Itars, only they can do that. And I now have 4 in my spendable pool. And so now I'm going to use that and get the 2 ore that I need. And that will mean that I'm guaranteed to be able to get my big building in round 1. So it looks like I've got someone following me up there. You can see that the Terrans are following me up, and it seems that other people want this too. Hajhalas makes sense, because Hajhalas often want this. Their ability is basically turn money into other stuff. So this makes sense for them to want to take this token. Though they often also want to go up this track, which is basically the income track. This is the science income track. This is like the other resource income track. So I'm going to do something which, again, this is me playing quite fast and loose. But I am trying to do something which I think is quite interesting, and something that only Itars can do, is have this big building out in round 1. So I'm taking that, and then because it was not associated with the specific track, I can choose which track to go up. So I'm going to go up this track here, and as you can see, just here, I've got 8 science per turn income. So that was very much an odd round. I know a lot of people would suggest that that was not, you know, the most sensible thing to do in round 1 of a game like this, because it really puts you behind in terms of your income, usually. But as you can see, I managed to get the money income up already. So now I just need to find a way of getting a little bit of ore, if I can. So it is now my turn. I must pass. It knows, the game will be able to tell you basically if you've got stuff that you can and can't do. It knows I must pass, so I'm going to pass. And now I get to choose a round booster for next turn. So far, these two are both still in the game, the current round. Whereas here you can see by this symbol here that Terrans have passed. So the one that they did have, which was 1 science and 1 ore, is vacated. If that had happened before my turn, what I might have done is, instead of going up the science track with that free boost, I might have gone up the dig track to get the extra 2 ore. But instead I am going to do this. So now I have to think, what is most likely for me to end on next turn? Is the ore and the science going to be worth it for me? Or is the ore and the potential for points next turn going to do it? So I'm probably not going to end on trading stations next round. At least I don't want to end on trading stations next round. What I would like to be able to do is see about getting effectively a new planet down. I want new planets down next round, not to upgrade, because I don't want to lower my ore income any more than I already have. Because at the moment I'm only getting 2, 1 which is from the base of the board and 1 from the single mine I have out, and that's already low enough. I don't want to go lower than that, so upgrading this to a trading station and leaving a trading station on the board is unlikely to happen. And so getting that extra bit of science for now might come into handy later in the game. It's, you know, it's a rare chance, but I just can't see myself getting those 2 points. And if I do, that's more for me, but it's something that I'm not really that likely to do. And the extra resource early is usually better, because it's more likely to pay off in the long run. So I'm trying to vocalize kind of my thought processes. We can see here that they were also able to get the big building out in round 1, which is unusual, but only because it's the Geodins, and they were able to do it because they started 1 up here, so they had the extra ore. So I started with 5 ore and a quick. They started with 6 ore and a quick, so they actually needed to find 1 ore from anywhere, which they managed to find. And so they've just upgraded that. So yeah, so me doing this on this planet rather than this planet was a large mistake, sadly for me. If I'd done it on this planet to begin with, I would have had a lot more power to generate in this game. And power generation is a big, big deal in this game. So, but thankfully, because I've gone second, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this free dig action. So, the way I'm going to do that is I've got 6 here, And one of the actions you can do, which you saw me do in the last round, is I can put one of mine, one token, into the Gaia bowl, and to do that, and that pushes a second one into here. So I have 6 power in this bowl here. So it means I can put 3 over there and 3 up there, and that's what this is telling me, the alternative payment. And so I'm going to do that to get the free build, and I'm going to do that immediately adjacent to my large building there. And that's really quite useful, because not only does that mean that I got on a new planet, which means I've got an extra mind, which is exactly what I want to do, it also means that I've taken myself slightly closer to this building over here, to this planet over here. So being able to build on this planet now only requires 2 range instead of 3 range. And the reason that's important is I can get 2 range with my 8 research. I can go up here twice and get 2 range. Now, one of the reasons that might not necessarily be the best thing to do is, if I show you here, the third mine that you build for any faction, unless their asymmetric part of their board makes them weird, it gives you nothing. So finishing with only 1 more mine out isn't that useful. However, if I'm able to get 2 more mines out, then it would be useful. And I can see a way in which I can get 2 more mines out. So the first mine I would get would be to upgrade my range by 2, and that to 2, which would get me here. So I would go there, and then my second one would go either here, using a quick to the quick that I get for going up here. So I'm actually going to do this now. So I've got a quick now. So here you can see now I've got 1 quick and 2 ore. If I can get to a second range, then I can do either colonizing this and then this, or alternatively, if I should want to, I can colonize this and then this. I am planning on going here and then here for now. Oh, hello. Looks like I've got someone who's trying to compete with me on that track, which I am not a fan of, but so be it. It's unusual that people would come up the science track like that, especially the Terrans who want to Gaia form. It's a very, very odd one for me, what they've done, but maybe the hard AI know something that I don't, despite the fact that I've played this game. It might be that my friendship group who play this game a lot have got into specific types of play patterns, but it seems that someone else has decided to get up to 8 science per turn as well. So now it's not just me, but also the Terrans. But they've done it obviously by the end of round 2 rather than the end of round 1, but they've still managed to do it, which is impressive. So here we can see that 2 of the races have passed. This race do not have a quick, so this is nice and safe for me. So I'm going to go here, which means I'm now in this sector. So I'm now in sector 3, and I'm happy with that, because I want to be in all of the sectors, part of the endgame condition. So that's one of the reasons I want to take this, because I want to take this before it's taken from me, because otherwise getting into this sector is going to be quite difficult. Whereas at the moment, I can now do this, and now instead of having 3 mines out, I will have 4 mines out, which is what I suggested would be better for me, because I could get that extra ore. I also knew that I wasn't really likely to end on having one of these out, so I was correct to not take that one for the points, because those points would never have materialized. That's a shame. I wanted it, so they've just passed for this action. I was hoping to pass for that, because my plan now was to build my second building next round. I can still do that, because I've got 4, and I know for a fact that if I look at my research, I know for a fact that I can get 2 ore next turn, so that would give me 6 ore. But what I need to do is find a way of getting some money now, to get things. So here what you can see at the moment is I can federate. So federating is a very, very interesting part of Gaia Project. Federating can happen when you've got 7 pips worth of buildings, so 7 value worth of buildings. I'm going to just go here. These ones are worth a single pip of value. These row 2 buildings are worth 2, and the row 3 buildings are worth 3 by base. There is a technology, if I go here, that makes the row 3 buildings worth 4 pips instead, which means you can form federations easier. And the way you form a federation is by having 7 pips worth of buildings. So here you can see here I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's saying, oh, you could build a federation. That's what this green section means here. However, when you're building a federation, you usually don't want to kind of just because you can doesn't mean you should. And there's 2 reasons for that. One, having your federations put into as few buildings as possible is often better, because it means that you can have more buildings separated to have them in 2 separate federations, because obviously only the 1 pip buildings are likely to be upgraded at some point, become 2 pip buildings and so on. So being able to go 3, and then if I upgrade these 2 to trading stations, let's say, well, if I can do that, I am able to just have these 3 buildings in a federation, which leaves these 2 buildings to be able to make a federation later in the game. Another reason that you don't want to have your federations spread across many, many buildings, usually, although this game is slightly varied in that regard, is that for each empty space, empty hex that you need to fill between your buildings, you have to make a satellite. And a satellite basically just goes, here, I am now connecting these buildings to mark them as being in a federation. So to group all of these buildings, I would need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 satellites. And the way you make satellites is you discard power disks from your board entirely, so you lose them forever, and they become satellites. So it's one reason that you don't necessarily want to do too many of those too early, because you're giving up some of your power. However, that is slightly varied in this one, because the more satellites you have in the game, the better. So there's going to be if you're first, then you get 18 points. If you're second, you get 12 points, and if you're third, you get 6 points. If you're fourth, you get nothing. Ties are add up and round down. So add up and split. So here you can see the 12 and the 6 have been added together to make 18, because they're all tied together. That 18 is then split 3 ways, 6 apiece. Well, I've got my 18 by myself as it stands. Obviously, I need to make sure I hit all 10 sectors for the victory condition anyway, but that's how it's going to happen. But so now that I've done this, I have got my 2 range. My 2 range was kind of one of my bottlenecks. Now that I've got 2 range, I can kind of jump places much more easily. So I can get from here to here, and then from there I can go there, or there, or there, and so on. And then, so from here to here, from here to here, and then that's kind of how I can get access to stuff. But I've also now got access to this desert planet, which is one of the things that I apparently need. I need 3 desert planets. I've got access to this desert planet, again, it's one of the things I need. And that's also, those both are 3 digs or 3 terraforming steps away from blue. Because if you look, it's 1, 2, and you go around the circle, and it's 3. So they're very unlikely to want to do those. I might have to be mindful of orange, but as it stands, orange cannot reach there. So even with a quick, as it stands, they only have an extra 2 range, so it's be 1, 2, so they can't even reach there yet. But of these, this is the one that I'm looking at the most at colonizing, but obviously not until I've improved my terraforming. And so that's what I'm planning on doing. But anyway, all of that was to say that I could federate now, in theory, but I'm not going to. I'm going to pass. And I'm going to pass, and I mentioned that I needed money. So, sadly, one of the easiest ways to get money and a dig is gone, because that has been taken by Haj Hallis, who have passed. I would have really liked this tile, because getting a single free step dig also lets me get here or here for free, because that's only 1 step away from me. So being able to go to either this one or this one is quite handy for me. But it also means I'm losing out on that money. So instead, knowing that I'm definitely on at least 1 green planet now, and I need the money, I'm going to take this. So you can see, I'm trying to explain my rationale as much as I can so that you can see what my thought process is and why I'm doing the kind of things that I'm doing. So I now know that I have access. So I know that I need 9 money for this round. So I'll explain why I need 9 money for this round. So in this round, I want to build my other big building. And so what I'm going to do here is, in order to build the one of my other big buildings, if I go to my board, is I can upgrade one of my mines to a trading station, and then one of those trading stations to this here. So that is how I would get that. So I would need 6 ore. I will take power. I would need 6 ore, and I would need 9 money. 3 plus 6. Assuming I have a neighbor, which, because of what I did last turn, I know I have at least neighbors here and here. And now I'm just considering how I want to navigate the situation for federations in future. So I'm pretty sure that one of my federations is going to be this big building and some smaller buildings. So now I need to think, okay, what about my other big buildings? So I've seen that they've just colonized this red planet, and they've colonized that there, because they used a free dig action by using the action here. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to upgrade this one that I could have upgraded earlier. Yes, I'm going to give them a lot of power, but so be it. But the reason I'm going to do that is because something tells me that they're likely to upgrade this at some stage. Whereas these, I'm not quite sure what they're doing with them. They've had them since the start of the game, and I'm just very confused by them. But what I want to do is have this upgraded for my turn. Yeah, so a lot of them have been using their power quite sensibly, but it is not up to me. So I'm going to do this first, because if they do decide to upgrade this now, I get more power generated from it. Okay. Yeah, so that's what I thought. I thought that they would do that. So now I've got 2 power generated, and you always pay 1 point fewer than the amount of power that you are generating. So now that I've got a 2-pip building, I generate 2 power when someone builds next to me instead of 1 when it was a mine, which is what I was saying. I was losing out on a lot of power generation early, because the larger the building you have there, the more power you generate. So now I'm going to spend 1 point to get 2 power, because they have upgraded that. So this is what I thought they were going to do. So now I've got some more power, which is going to be useful. The more power I can get, the better. And there is a very nice thing. So now, finally, they're upgrading here. So it wasn't a complete waste to go here, just I didn't get the early generation. It's just I've had to wait a fair bit more than I would have liked. So now I'm going to do that research that I mentioned before to get the 2 ore that I know I need to build my other big building. The other people are definitely fueling the power engines of other people, but, you know, that happens. I am monitoring the point situation. I am currently winning, but that doesn't really mean much. What you really need to look out for is whether or not you're being beaten here, and whether or not you're being beaten up here. Because you get for every step you are above this line here, you get 4 points. So this is 4, this would be 8, this would be 12, and then it's for each column, and then for each step. So you can get, you know, 12 here, 12 here, 12 here, 12 here. So that's why science early is really quite strong. So what you can see there is I'm accepting a lot of power generation. There is a reason for that, which will become fairly clear in a moment. So what I'm actually going to do is what actions have not been taken the 7 money hasn't been taken, and money is one of my bottlenecks because I'm not generating much money at the moment. I've only got, the only money I'm getting is that 5 guaranteed income from my textiles per turn. So what I might do is take this. And the way I do that is I'm going to, like you've seen me before, put 4 over there and 4 into my Gaia bowl. And there is a good reason for me to put 4 into my Gaia bowl, which I will get to in just a moment. So I'm taking that while I'm able, because you can see here, someone could nab it from me, and here, someone could nab it from me. And money is definitely one of my bottlenecks. So I'm doing that. As you saw, I needed this round booster tile just to get the full money I needed just to be able to do what I'm doing. So getting money now, it means that even if I don't use it this round, I can use it for next round. So people are going up the other tracks now, so some people have joined me on the nav track. So now I'm going to use my 4 and 6. I'm going to upgrade this to my other big building because we are in the round to do it. So I'm glad that this strategy did pay off. I just about got enough stuff to be able to do this. And as you can see, that 7 money I got is... Yeah, I basically plan to be able to have exactly enough stuff in this game. So I mentioned before that the 4 in my Gaia bowl was specifically quite useful. Like very, very... There was a specific reason I wanted to do that. And I'll explain why that was important now. So if I go to my board here, having built this, my special ability here is that during the Gaia step of the income phase, so during the income phase, you take all of your income, and then any of your power that's currently in your Gaia bowl moves to your bowl 1. Unless you're the Terrans, it moves into bowl 2. It's one of their powers. But everyone else is moved into bowl 1. Whereas for the Itars, once they have built their big building, they can, instead of moving 4 of those tokens back into bowl 1, they can discard those 4 tokens from their board entirely, so they'll lose them forever. But in so doing, they take a technology tile. And the technology tiles are quite powerful because they let you move up a step. So I'm still considering which one I'm going to take because I've got 4 in there. So what I might do is take this 7-point tile, and there is a rationale for that. I'll explain that in a moment. But what I'm considering doing is taking this tile because it gives me something that gives me something instantaneously that I then no longer have to worry about. And that's important because if you have something instantaneous that you no longer worry about, you can then cover it with some of the more advanced tech tiles. And so you can only take the advanced tech tiles when you have got to either stage 4 or stage 5 of a track, and you have a Federation token. This Federation token I mentioned before, when you form Federation, you get to take a Federation token. I mentioned there's a goodie at the top of each of these tracks. At the top of this track, there's 9 immediate science. At the top of this track, there's lots of immediate resources. At the top of this track, there's immediate points for every green planet that you're currently on, plus 4. There's, on top of this track, there's 4 quicks, which is nice. On top of this track, there's an extra planet type that's just for you, and you get to put it down anywhere on the map for 4, at 4 range maximum. And then you, from now on, have 4 range, which is the most that anyone can have, because once one person's got here, it's closed off. You kind of get up there and close the door behind you. And then this one is get a free Federation tile, so you get the points and the other resource, and whatever resource it tells you is associated with it. So getting to the top of the tracks is useful. But to get to the top of a track, you need to flip a Federation token from green to grey. And taking one of these tiles also requires you to flip a Federation token from green to grey. So you need to federate before. This is one of the reasons I'm not so worried about this so far, because blue hasn't federated, so I know that this is of no risk and this is of no risk. There's also not a good reason to take up here before round 6, because if you do, you just lost a whole bunch of science. Because you're not getting the income anymore, you just get the immediate bonus, and you're no longer on a step that says income. So this says get 1 per turn. This says get 2 per turn. It says get 3 per turn. It doesn't say 1 more, 1 more, 1 more. You get exactly what it says, not this and everything below it, if that makes sense. So once you've moved off of this and you get the 9 immediate, you're no longer getting the points the science points per turn. So it's unlikely that blue is going to want to jump up there until round 6. So there will be a fight for it, and there'll be a tempo play. thing that I'll have to be concerned about later on in the game. And then this is get 2 points per sector you're in. And again, that's usually, I think AI might be a bit weird, it's usually not something that they can take, that is taken early, though it's something I'll monitor. So as soon as the AI gets a Federation, I'll certainly be paying attention to that, because this is one that I'm looking to get to score a fair number of points to help my score. But oftentimes, you can get 3 or 4 Federation tokens in a game, usually. And if you can, then oftentimes what happens is you get to the top of a couple of tracks and you get a couple of these, or you can get the top of 3 tracks and 1 of them, or you can get to the top of 1 track and maybe 3 of these tokens if you're really quite good in how you've distributed your science. But it's normally the top of 2 tracks and 2 kind of special tech tiles, and that's usually the really, really strong games that you've got. If you've managed to do that, you've probably won the game. It's not easy, but if you manage to do that, you've probably won the game. So something I'm going to point out is that next round we're going to be wanting to upgrade some of our structures into trading stations. But before that, yes, so I'm now just thinking the tech tiles that I want before I do anything else. So I've still got 4 science left, 5 science, but at least 1 tech move that I can do. So I can do various weird things now. I have a few options available to me, though I think... no, I do have quite a few options available to me. So I'm going to verbalize my options here. So when I do this, I can take this 7, which would take me up here. And if I were really weird, what I could do is I could use my 4 science to go here and to start being able to go onto purple planets. So the purple planets I've not mentioned at all this game because they're weird. The purple planets can only be used once you've started going up this track. And that is called Gaia forming a planet. So what you do is you, as an action, place a Gaia former. And then during the Gaia phase of the next round, so you have to wait until the following round, it then becomes basically a reserved planet only for you. And that's quite useful. And it also counts as a green planet, which is significant if you've got a round that requires green planets, or if you've got this, which gives you points for having colonized green planets. So it is relevant, but given that green planets is not an endgame scoring criteria, I'm not necessarily going to kind of bomb it up here. But one of the reasons I'm considering it is it lets me it gives me a way of putting these tokens into my Gaia Bowl without necessarily having to push them across myself, which means I don't have to rely on other factions letting me charge power in order to do it. It would also let me get access to kind of one of these 3. So I'm just thinking out loud here. If I were to do that, what I could do is then I would have 10 tokens here in the Gaia Bowl, and I could remove 8 of them, because it's for each 4 I remove from my game entirely. I could take a tactile. So I could, in a theory, take 1 and 2 to get 2 immediate bonuses. This one would get me 3 tokens back. So sure, I've spent 4 tokens, but I've got 3 of those back. Or I could, instead of that, I could, but I've got 3 of those tokens, and so I've effectively, what I will have done is spent a token to get an ore and a quick, which is quite a nice exchange. It also gets me a tech move, which is quite nice. One of the reasons I might also consider doing this, by the way, is it's strange that I'm considering this, but what it does is it would then allow me to effectively get into sectors more easily. So if we look at the sectors, one of my issues is that you can see there's like clusters of purple planets. Like here, if the easiest way to get here, if I were to go here, I could then, so long as I had range 3, I could get to this purple planet and thus be in this sector without having to worry about anything else. To get into this sector, well, I either need this green planet or one of these 2 purple planets, and that might go. There's no guarantee that that's going to stay accessible to me. So, being able to get down here is very, very handy. And then once I've got one of these, assuming I've got 3 range I can get here, then I can go 3 range there, I'll probably also want to go there. And that way I'm in this sector as well. Then 3 range down to here. I'm in this sector as well. So you can see why I might be eyeing that up. It becomes really quite a reasonable way of getting into the sectors that I otherwise don't have access to. So that's one of the rationales that I've got for thinking about going that way. And so effectively what I would be doing, yeah, I think that the more I'm talking, the more I'm convincing myself that this might be a sensible idea. So I've got 4 science left, so I'm actually going to use that 4 science to go up here. I was also trying to delay effectively. So now I'm the last one in the round. One of the reasons I was doing that actually was also because I was intentionally delaying, because this faction had the trading post one, and now, next round, I do want to build trading posts. So next round, trading posts are likely to happen. And I would also quite fancy the ore that trading post would give me. Sorry, the trading post token, the round booster. If you look here, it gives you an extra ore, and I quite fancy that because I'm currently low on ore. Whilst the free dig and the range extender would also be nice, and I'll certainly consider them once I get there. I'm going to, for now, have a look at what my options are in terms of colonizing a purple planet. So in terms of purple planets, I have a couple of good options. One is here, because it's not much of an issue to get there now. It's kind of easy Federation zone. Here, part of me doesn't necessarily want to do that one, just because it kind of joins this up, which means I'm forced to have these as my federated planets. Whereas if I go here, well, that means I now have, next round, should I want it, 2 range can get me here. So they are my 3 options. It's this planet, or this planet. I don't have a quick, so I can't extend my range at all. So I think my plan is to go here. And that's largely because it opens this option up, basically. It gives me some optionality which the other ones don't do. And these ones I might be able to get later in the game, assuming that blue doesn't beat me to them. But if blue does beat me to them, so be it. I'm not tied into them because there's always this green planet, and then I can kind of connect up through here. This one here, I'm planning on at least getting one of these 2 planets. So if I can get this and one of these 2, then I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. Kind of, that will be this without even having to upgrade any of these. I can already do that. But yeah, I'm going to do this. So this might be a risky gameplay, but I'm trying something different that I haven't done before. And I think I am planning on building... I'll have 3 ore next turn if I don't... Yeah, I'll have 3 ore next turn if I don't take this tile as income. So if I do that, I should either take this tile to make it possible for me to generate power for myself to get those 3 tiles back, or this to get the extra ore and a quick, which I think is the more viable approach, just to basically bootstrap my economy a bit. Yeah, so I think that's my plan. I'm going to take this 7... No, because I'll have that, I think I might take this and this, so I can go up here, and then I'll use this one to go up here, just so that I have some functionality, because the 7 points isn't that useful now, but I might be able to take it later anyway. Right, so, yep, I'm knowing that I've got 1 extra ore, so I'll have 4 ore next turn. What am I doing with that 4 ore? That 4 ore, I'm probably going to be building at least 1 trading station. And that'll be 3, 4, 5, 6. And that'll be 7. So I could make a federation fairly easily there. And that'll help give me some more resources for helping going forward. Also, by moving up here, I will then be able to have... I'll be 2 research steps away, which I get 2 per turn, to go to here, which gives me 2 more ore. So I'm in a pretty good spot here to be able to do that. So if I've got 4, 5 ore, I can go 7 ore. 7 ore would be handy because I can get then 1, 2, and then get... Yeah, okay. So I'm pretty sure I've got a plan for next turn. And I think it does involve having this. So because I took that 7 money last turn, I've now got enough money to fuel my turn. So here, I'm getting 1 token by base per turn, an extra token here, and 4 charge. At the moment I've only got the 1 power in bowl 2, so I can only usefully use 1 charge. So I'm going to be getting both of those new tokens and then charging them both. So take 2 from bowl 1 into bowl 3. So that's the most efficient use of that power generation. And then it's going to ask me if I want to remove some of my stuff from my bowl. So the Terrans haven't built their PI yet. Yeah, so how many tech tiles do you want to take for your Gaia Power Bowl? And that is, it's asking me, and I'm going to take 2 because I've mentioned this quite a few times. So my first one is definitely this. Yep. And that gets me 3 of those back. So now, effectively, like I said, I spent 1 token, effectively. So I spent 1 token to get 1 ore and 1 quick, which is a pretty good rate of return. And get tech move for it as well. So it's actually 4 science. I spent 1 token effectively to get 4 science, an ore, and a quick. I've also now got to choose my second option. So if I go here, I definitely want to form a federation this turn. If I turn this into a 4-pit building, it would be 4, 5, 6, 7, and I wouldn't have to worry about upgrading these buildings, and I could upgrade this building instead, which actually is appealing to me more so than the... yeah, that's actually more appealing to me. I think, yeah. Because then I can turn that into a... So I'm going to have 8. So put 5. No, I'm going to have 7. Because I'm going to get up to here to have 7. And then I'm going to want to go to here. And then I'll take the 7-pointer. I'm going to upgrade. I'm going to... Yeah, okay. I'm... Yeah. I apologize for kind of mumbling to myself there, but I think I'm convincing myself that this might be the take. And I want to, before I rush into that, I want to consider if it is, because I definitely want to have a federation this turn. And I want to see whether or not it's the most sensible thing to do. I need 2, 4... actually, 3, 6... No, I don't need it. I can still get a federation by upgrading this one, and then, yeah, okay. So I don't need to take that. So I think what I do is I take this one here because that's most useful during this round to move up here. Okay, so orange is federated, so that's not a problem for me. It's only once blue federates that I've got a bit more of an issue. a shame. I was hoping to get there first, so I could get more power generation, but I am going to upgrade this. So here we can see it's 3, 4, 5, 6. This is going to be number 7 in this section, and I'm yeah. So I'm kind of a bit locked out of the power things so far. See, that's might have scuppered one of my plans slightly, because I'm not going to get those, but that's okay, because I'll get the extra ore from here. So I'm going to get 4 ore this turn. I'll explain that in a moment. Where has that happened? They built a mine, and they built a mine there. That's not ideal, but it's not the end of the world. As long as I can get to here, I'm okay. Right, I'm going to build this. That is a very odd choice. They've upgraded a building within... I suppose they wanted to make sure that they got access to that before anyone else, but what they've done, if they've got 9 power in a Federation, it's going to be quite difficult for them to get another Federation. This is not something you would see human players do. Very, very odd, is all I can say. This is certainly more like what you might see a human player do, where you can see they're planning probably 1 Federation over here. They might take this building, and then another Federation over here, where they might take that with their next Gaia forming. Right, so I can federate, but in order to federate I would have to spend tokens. So what I want to do is move these down to bowl 1 before I do that. And so what I'm going to do is have a look and think about what might be limiting me. One of the things that is likely to limit me is, in what I want to do this round, is going to be money, and next round. Though 2 science is definitely nothing to kind of put your nose up at, but this is, I think, the most useful, especially because I can get, if we have a look at when I do federate, which is going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so I'm going to need 2 tokens. When I do federate, I can see that there are no more of these left, but I'm going to have one of those at the top of here. I can get 2 science, which would give me an extra tech move this turn, so that's viable. It's certainly not unreasonable. I can get new tokens, which is not bad. I can get a quick and an extra and 8 points instead of the 7 points. So I can get 6 points and 2 science, which is pretty good. I can get 7 points and 6 money. So if we compare that to the power the moves that we were just looking at, it's effectively 1 more point for 1 less money, but for the equivalent 4 power action. This is 8 points for a 3 power action, what is effectively a 3 power action. Because that 3 power action to give you 2 tokens is there. And so what they've done is they've said, okay, well, this whole extra point is, you know, an inverse power. So that's how they've calculated this. And then this is technically kind of your best bang for buck in theory, because you're getting 8 points for 2 4 power actions. For a 4 power action. Because 4 power also becomes a quick, and that's a free action. It's in the exchange. But it's one of those that can happen. So I'm just really considering my options here, because if I take the 2 science token and take the 2 science here, I can start looking in terms of research. Yeah, so I can go here, build that, go there, and then I would get another research, and I could use that to go here, letting myself get more, or go here and letting myself get closer to having more range. So I am just debating with myself, kind of considering what I go up. Just because next round it's going to be digs, so I definitely want to be going up the dig track this round, because I know that I want to be up here. And the question just becomes, where, if I take the Science Federation, where do I go up? Because what I would do is I've got 4 power, so I can have the 4 science from the 2 from the power, if I take it 4 power for thing, and then 2 from the Federation tile, which gets me an extra track move. And I'm just thinking to myself, is that worth it? And the answer is probably yes. The answer is it probably is worth it. And having two of these is going to be quite handy, because I can start spreading out a bit better. So yeah, so it gives you an extra Gaia former, and it costs you less to place them into, fewer tokens to put them down. So this becomes now a question of where I think I'm going to put them down. So I have got this quick here. So I've got 2 + 2, and I can quickly fit into down here with that, and that kind of shores that up quite nicely. Or I can do the same here, 2 + 2, and get down here nice and early. Because once I'm here, then I can reach other places more easily. But I think this is the safer bet, because then I can also, without having to worry about it, I can get to here, and you know, I only need 3 range, and I can go here, here, you know, here, and then I can get to here. So I'm just thinking about the sector scoring that I have to do by the end of the game, and I need to get that set up I need to get the Gaia's formers set up in round 5, so that I can plant my buildings in round 6, as the Gaia formers are useless after round 5, because they don't get done. So I'm just thinking having 2 this round would be useful, because it might make it more likely that I'm able to go. I'll have 2 quicks. I have 1 quick, so So is it that useful? Is that research useful? Because all it does is it means it only costs me 4. So I really need to consider this, because the reason I'm taking a long time is it will affect whether or not I'm likely to do well this game. So I definitely want 3 range, so I can get here next round to be in this sector, which will then let me get to this here, and then I can get just using a 3 step to get here. So that's kind of something I'm eyeing up this round. Might have miscalculated. I've only got 2 ore, not 3 ore. I definitely need 3 ore for my plan to come to work, because I'm getting 2 steps, 1 step here, 1 step here, to get myself 2 more ore. And then my plan had been to build one of my labs, research labs, to then take this to go up here after I federated. Okay, so people might have been screaming at the screen. Clearly, I miscalculated. That's on me. I must have thought about the quick as an ore, which means what I'm actually going to do, annoyingly, the one action that I would like to do has been taken. That's the one I would like to do now, but instead I'm going to exchange 3 for 1. I know I need this ore to get my plan for this round to work. Actually, I'm going to do this while stuff's there, and then I'm going to put 3 into there. Yep, that's what I want to do. Right, so now I've got enough ore to execute on the action that I need to execute on. And so you can see that they've gone on that green planet, so now I definitely, it is a must now that I can get here before I lose out, basically. So I'm really glad I thought about that. So now I know I need quicks. Yep, thought that might be the case. That's fine, that's going to get me power in the future. I didn't want these connected up anyway, because I'm planning on having another Federation with these 2 buildings in it. But let me Federate now. And let me have a look here. So I'm going to have 4, so that will give me 5, so it's going to be 2 and 3. And then I have 1 quick. It's going to give me 1 quick to go up there. Yep, so let me Federate. And I need a 2nd quick from my Federation. So this is why you always check what you're doing. You always need to make sure that you're doing things sensibly. It's very easy to mess yourself up if you're not careful. It is very, very easy to mess yourself up if you're not careful. But now, so let me take a step back. Do I need that quick? Do I need to Federate? So I'm going to undo the turn. There's a undo turn thing, so it just takes you to the start of the turn. Now that I've got this 5 power in this bowl, because I set this up last time, instead of Federating, what I can do is I can take the 2 science. So the reason I'm considering this now is if I take the 2 science, I can get that quick anyway. Because I can get the 2 science and then the 2 science Federation. That gets me 4 science, so I can get the 1, 2, 3, getting that quick there, so I don't need to take the quick. Yeah, okay, absolutely. So I'm going to take the power action here to take the 2 science. And again, this is why we are careful about how we play. Obviously, it is the kind of thing that probably better players than I am can work out much faster. This is, I tend to play friendly games where people don't mind how much how long you're taking. Oftentimes we make each other drinks in that time, cups of tea, whatever it is. But I apologise if people were screaming at the screen saying, no, you could do this, you could do this. This is my first time kind of playing in this a bit of a pressured environment in terms of being recorded, so I am trying something new here. So mistakes are likely to happen. So let's see here. So yeah, then I Federate. So the reason I took that is I couldn't risk losing the 2 science. I couldn't risk losing those 2 science points. So I'm forming a Federation, and I'm going to take the 2 science points, which puts me up above another multiple of 4. So I've got 13 now, which is above a multiple of 4. Sadly, that the one that I got earlier didn't make a difference, or it hasn't yet. It might still yet, but it hasn't yet. So you can see people are going up the nav range with me. Okay. Yep, I would like some power. Now that I've spent my power discs, I would like more power. Like I know I'm not Federating again this turn, so that's fine. I'm going to now use my science to pop up here. So the fact that Hajj haven't built their PI yet and nor have the Terrans is very unusual to me. The two factions are far, far, far more powerful if they have done. The Geodins have done, and that's why they're doing quite well. You can see their points is higher, and they've still got all of this science. Their power, their PI ability, this building ability, is whenever they colonize a new planet type for the first time, they get some science. And that's obviously a very, very nice reward. So, I'm going to go up here. And I know I have exactly enough money. I've got 7 plus 1 here to do what I want to do. I was aware that I could do this. I was willing to put some into the Gaia Bowl if need be, but thankfully I don't have to do that. So I'm going to be upgrade this to a trading station, which is for the round useful. So I'm getting points for the round for doing that. So I've done that twice this round. Though I know I've got the pass tile that gives me more points to keep them, but this one is definitely being upgraded because it gets me more points to upgrade it now. So because I have a Federation tile, I can jump up here. So I'm going to take this, which lets me jump up to the top of that track, which uses up, if I go to my thing, it turns my Federation tile from green side to grey side, but I end up picking up a new Federation tile that is green side and gave me 2 ore, which is really quite handy because I've only got 3 income for next round. So having that extra 2 is quite handy. So now if they give me... Yes, they're going up the nav track. So if we look here, that we're all going to be quite high up the nav track. They're now at 3 range, which is not ideal for me. I definitely need to use 1 quick to get here because this is my only way into the sector. I can't risk that being taken from me. So at the moment I've only got 2 range, so going to here it's just a must have. I have only got 6 tokens though, so I can only use 1 anyway. Even if I had a second one, I only have 6 tokens, so I can't use a second one because that would require 8, because I would go up here and it would give me this. And in terms of power, I don't have enough power. Oh. In terms of power, I don't have enough power in my bowl to get the 2 new tokens. So that's, yeah, this has not gone quite according to plan, but it is a plan that I did have in mind. So I think I now jump up here because yeah, because then I get some power charge, which, you know, it's not the most useful because I'm not utilizing it to its fullest extent, but it gets me a quick, which is going to be handy in the future for range extending. Is likely how I'll use it. But this power charge is giving me 3 power, so 1, 2, 3. I'm going to turn that into 2 money before I Gaia form. So now the rest of them are passed, so it's on me. And some people might say, oh, well, you know, you should have done things for turn order, but sometimes it is correct and sometimes it might not be. So what I'm going to do here is yeah, I'm going to do the exchange. Ooh, that's actually interesting. Because of that, instead of... So, I'm just considering what my options are now, because as it stands, I can build an extra mine, but if you remember, the third mine does nothing, so there isn't actually a reason to build that mine this round over next round. But I could, in theory, build a mine there, and that would, in theory, be good. But there is a reason to not do that. And the reason, and the way I would do that is I would use one of these ore and the two here for money would get me the things that I need. But what instead I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do something quite odd, I think, because that's still 3 away from me and I don't have 3 range, so I'd have to spend the quick. And yeah, that's... Yeah, so what I need to do is I'm going to effectively spend a token, a temporary token, to get 2 more tokens. So here, I'm doing that. It's because I want tokens so that I can do stuff. So maybe I should have gone up the Gaia bowl to get, again, there's lots of variables going on, and I'm still not a pro player, but in order to do that I still only have 7, not 8, so it was the correct thing to do. So I'm going to now go here, and I've got 1, 2 plus 2 range. I'm now going to be in this sector, and that is vitally important for me. So here, for next round, I will definitely be in this sector, which it was just so important to me. And it also means that I can get into this sector fairly easily, because I can just build a mine here. And once I'm here, I'm now kind of in a very good place, because then I can go, all right, I can go from here, once I've got 3 range, to go to plus a quick, 3 range plus a quick can get me here next round, and then that's all I need to think about in terms of Gaia forming next round. I don't need to worry about it, because once I'm here, 1, 2, 3, I need 3 range basically. I don't care about a 4th range. 4th range would be nice because it lets me go straight from here to here, but it's just, if we have a look here, it's so heavily competitive for that 4th range. It's just unlikely that I'm going to get it. It's one of the reasons I was kind of hoping to push here, because pushing for that 4th range is handy. It lets me put down an extra mine down. It can get me into a sector that I'm not already in fairly easily. But I'm not so worried about losing this one at the moment, though I possibly should be now that they've got 3 range. But next turn, I can take this one to get into this sector. I can, if I get 4 range, I can get here. If not, I can get there eventually using a quick. I definitely want to have a second Gaia Former next round. So next round I'm definitely going to be having a second Gaia Former, and I'll be putting 1 here and 1 here. One of the reasons that I'm not so worried about the range is next turn I will definitely have the range, because I'm going to be taking this, I think, as my tile of interest, or this, either one, to go up here, because I've got at least 4 in there, so I'll be removing 4 tokens. So if I lose 4 tokens, I'll then have 3, 4 left over. Is that wise then? Maybe I don't do that. Maybe I don't use my own ability, just because I then won't be able to have enough to put the 2 down. So actually, yeah, as you can see, the question, it becomes a lot more difficult to make decisions the further into the game you are. But I think I'm going to pass, and I can use the range extender to Gaia form next turn. I do waste 1 of this power gen, and yeah, I do waste 1 of the power gen, and I am only getting 3 ore, but the range might just be what I need. Just thinking about it, I think given my ore situation, I think what's necessary for me to have is this, and then that excess science. Now I only need 2 more science. Yeah, this game has definitely run away from me a bit. This is certainly not going quite to plan. You can hear how chaotic my internal mental state is when I'm playing this game. It's not always kind of sunshine and rainbows in my head. It's I often get very, very confused in myself. Yeah, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll only have 6 if I do a Gaia thing. So I would basically be mandating on myself that I get the 3 power for 2 new tokens in this round to make sure I can Gaia form twice if I take one of those. So let's consider. I'm on 3 planet types. If I were to take this, I could then federate with, as it be 4, 5, 6. I'd only need 1 more building. I'd only need 1 more building. And then that building could be this. And that's how I get into this sector. Then I don't have to worry about this sector at all. So then it becomes just about getting to 3 desert planets. And that could be 1, 2, and I guess this or this. But that would require 4, so that's unlikely. This is also not the most likely, but possible. But yeah, I probably need to eye this up now. So it's got 1, 2, if we look at the score condition, in order to win, I must have 3 desert planets. So yeah, I'm definitely, so I need 1, 2, 3, 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sectors. And I'm pretty sure I can do that. Just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. So I'm okay with the sectors. That I'm less worried about. It is the yeah, I think so. I'm relying on 2 Gaia formers basically for these 2. It's kind of what I'm relying on. So I need to be able to have 2 Gaia formers. I am locking myself into taking that, but I think it's worth doing because worst case scenario I can get the 2 token Federation tile, which is not ideal, but it's certainly takeable. So I think I do this and go up here. So now part of this is about understanding. Yeah. So that is one of the things I was worried about. Certainly not ideal. Yeah, maybe I should have considered taking that last round. I had an excess science and 2 ore, but I was leaving the ore for this round because I want to dig anyway this round. Oh god, they've really weird late PI from Hatchalis, but it is what it is. So now that I've lost that, I need to consider how I'm getting into this sector. It's probably going to be spending a quick and going here, because it's only 1 dig rather than 3 digs. This is only 2 digs, but that's a quick as well, unless I can get to 4 range first, which I suppose actually that has thrown open. No one has gone to the top of that range track. by going to the top of the range track for range, and I can suddenly get there and I don't need to use a quick. That opens up opportunities that I hadn't really considered. It gets me there without having to use a quick as well. I think that is a must nab for me, even though it uses up one of my tokens. Not ideal. It uses up one of my Federation tokens. I think this is the most sensible thing for me to do. And then I can place... In fact, I can place it in this sector, which means I can just ignore this sector at that point. And then I can Gaia, build, and I'll have 4 range, so I can build there. And that'll be how I get into all the sectors. Yeah, it's going to be... It's the most sensible way to get into all of the sectors. I think it's a must-do just for this endgame scoring criteria, and also in order to win this game, I must do this. So here it goes. And just in case it becomes relevant, I'm going to put it kind of... let's see. I want it here, so 1, 2, 3. I guess here. It's 1, 2, 3. It's also 3 away from there. Yeah. 1, 2. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Making sure that that's in the right sector. So 1, 2 away from there. 1, 2 away from there. Yep. All of them. All of the hexes have to be within 2 of the center. So that is in now. Hex 4. It only gives them one. Only gives them the 1 power charge, and that's fine. But it importantly doesn't... oh, I'm looking at Hatchalis. They are already full on power charge. So maybe I can go near Hatchalis, because that then gets me... If I go... 1, 2, 3, 4. That's fine. I have access to here. If I go here, then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to undo that. So I now no longer care about giving them. They're already full on power, so I can charge them. I hadn't noticed that they were already full on power. I was basically trying to deny them power charge. Yeah, so I want to research this, and I can put it here, and not give them any power charge, not give them any power charge, and I was already going to, if they upgrade this, I already get power charge no matter what, so putting it close to that doesn't do me anything, but going here doesn't give them anything for now, but it gives me access to either of these green planets, so if one of them goes, I can grab the other one. But one of the reasons that that's useful is I'm now not dead set on absolutely requiring the this planet here, which, you know, I can pretty much guarantee it myself because it's within 4 of me, and you know, that they're not Gaia forming that far away from themselves. But yeah, that's kind of the situation that we're in at the moment. Yeah, I apologize for kind of just chatting wildly here. It just there's a lot to think about in this round 5. Yes, the double dig is gone, which is a shame. I would have quite liked the double dig. It's one of the reasons I was hoping to get some power there, but that's fine. The single dig is not useful for us because my dig only costs 1 ore, and 3 power is 1 ore anyway, so it doesn't do much. So the next thing I definitely need to do is upgrade this, because that gives me access to this. So I want that before it goes. So I desperately want that. So I'm now kind of trying to do a few things. So I definitely want to dig a desert, one planet desert, at least one desert planet this round. Ah, okay. That's fine. I'm going to be digging this one next. I can't risk losing that either. Wow, they went to the top of that track around early. That's really interesting. Something, again, only AIs might do. If they've lost out on an extra turn's income. So that's curious. So I'm going to hard dig this, because this is part of my strategy to now get into the sector. But also, it gets me the here I've now got 1, 2, 3, 4 token Federation. If I should so want it, because my big buildings are size 4 now. Probably a misplay from me. I should have taken this. If I lose it, that's on me. I will just take this instead because it gets me an extra science, but I should have certainly taken this. Okay. That's fine. So I need this to get my digs. Lucked out and got an extra usable power, actually. So one of the reasons I did this, by the way, is now I haven't locked, instead of, you know, I was worried before that I'd lock myself into, in order to get all of them, I needed to have 2 Gaia formers. But now I don't need 2 Gaia formers, because I just need the 1 to get into here, which I will be spending. But other than that, I actually am fine. So I can use a quick to get one of these 2 planets. I'm not so worried about basically forcing my things. I'm in this sector. I'm going to be in this sector. I want to build this one to get into this sector. Again, we saw what blue is capable of doing and blocking me. So I don't want to, and I know that these guys haven't yet gone on a white planet. So I want to deny them the science as well. So even though I'm on a digging round, no, I definitely should get the ore while I can. I definitely should. It's just correct. But I'm no longer tied in to having to use the +2 tokens action. Okay, so before this is locked out to me, I'm going to put a mine down here. So that's now safe for me. So I'm in that sector. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm in the top 3. I'm now in all of the middle 3. And I am in the bottom left one. I just have 2 more sectors to go to. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm planning on colonizing one of these 2 and this. And this one I'm going to be doing Gaia forming at the end of this round. And then I'm going to be, as one of my first actions next round, is going to be take whichever one is still left. Yeah, that's basically my thing. I am going to, however, dig this round just because I know that it is basically correct to dig. My next question becomes, which text do I do next? I probably go up here, and that gives me 10 for next turn, which puts me at 13. So it doesn't put me over a threshold, because 9 plus 7 is still a threshold, but it does give me access to basically this textile. I want this textile, and I want it quite badly. And I would actually happily forego the 9 science for this textile. This is where my points are coming from. That will be 20 points. I've only got 3 textiles at the moment, so this would only be 15 points. 15 points is nothing to scoff at, but it's not quite as strong. But I would very much like to be able to take this in the last round. Once I have built on the 10th slot. I will settle for this if I need to, but this is where I'm hoping to get the extra 20 points that I think will win me the game. Right. I need to be on 3 desert planets. I need to keep reminding myself I must be on 3 desert planets. So it's going to be one. Yeah, I think it's going to be 1, 2, and 3. This one is the most likely to be taken by orange, so I'm going to take this one. And that gives me some points. And I had forgotten I get stuff in return for doing that. So actually, I'm going to be taking 2 quicks. That is mightily important, and I'll show you why that is. So not only do I get 6 points, I believe, for having done that, because I colonized a new planet type. So if we look here, research. So I've got a few options available to me here. Ah, damn it. That was going to be my thing. One of my actions was going to be, do I take this? Get some more ore back. Or science back. Because if I got the science, I could have gone up to... Yeah, because I'm out of money. I'm out of thing. So, I mean, my next action has to be this. Just to stall for some time. Because there's no point not doing that. I'm hoping to get some power. Where are people? Nope. People are starting to go up the quick track. Brilliant. Okay, I did get some power. 1 power is better than no power. Okay, so I now have, however, this open to me. Yeah, all of these have been taken, that's fine. I have this open to me. I would need to do that. What is most sensible? Because I could take this. Because I'm on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planet types. And 5 is a threshold for me. 5 would take me up to 12. And that could be quite handy. But that, if I do my Gaia forming nonsense, that's probably the one that I take. Because I don't think I can federate this turn and also put my Gaia former down. I don't think that's possible, because I've only got... Yeah, I need too many tokens. I need 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I would need to also have at least... Well, I need 6 realistic to go in there for next turn. Because I'm... Unless I push up here with my research. If I push up here, that gets me 5 in bowl 3. That 5 can become... So you can just hear the cogs whirring in my mind. Gets 1, and then 1, 2, so it gets me 3. It gets me 3 quicks back again for next round. It does mean I almost certainly lose this. I could then take that as my Gaia bowl dismissal action, basically setting me up for at least some points next round, because I know I'm going to be being on at least 1 Gaia planet. It's worth 3 points, plus the 3 points I'm going to be getting for the round anyway, so... yeah, this is where the question marks start to happen. Yeah. So I can go here, getting me... I think I do this because of the effect of the power gen that it gives me. And it gives me just a few more options in terms of being able to federate. So we can see here, in terms of federations, oh, I've already used both of my Federation tokens. They're both on the grey side, so I can't take one of the special tech tiles. So this is why I'm trying to consider... Do I? I've got 6 now. So... I definitely want... Okay. I've got some... How do I do this? Okay, so... If I take this now, I can then go up there, which gets me... So I spend 4 to get a quick, which gets me this, which takes me a quick back. So I spend 4 quicks to get a quick, but more importantly than the quick, I get the tech move, obviously, but I also get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 science, which is going to get me 2 more tech moves this turn. And 2 more tech moves this turn is quite a large swing, because then I can go up there, giving myself 3 quicks. And I know this might sound very weird, but those 3 quicks, which would be 4 quicks, so it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. Would that be enough to let me settle another desert planet? I think it would. This is going to be a bit weird, but I think I can get another desert planet out this round. And that might be important, because I need to make sure that I get 2 more desert planets in order to win the game. And getting a little bit more ore is just what I need to do that. So, yeah, there's a lot of thoughts going on here, and yeah, it's very, very weird. My voice is gone, definitely. I forgot to drink any of my drinks so far this game. Okay, so I think I do exactly what I mentioned I was going to do. So I spend 3 quicks and 4 power to get a tech tile. And that tech tile is going to be this one here. Let's get me started on the quick range, the quick track. But importantly, it gives me some science immediately. Ooh, okay. Yes, actually. That gives me a whole different option that I hadn't considered. Yeah, so they're going to be passing now. I probably want that big buildings pass tile in the final round, but I won't. I'll overcharge power, but it's 8. It's guaranteed of 8 points, which is pretty much the best I can ask for. I will then research up here. I will then research. So now that I know where their Gaia forming, I feel very safe. I'm going to research up here, which gives me another 3 power gen, which is important. So this is why I said, oh, this gives me the option of doing something more. So I've now got 5 power in bowl, in that bowl. That's really useful, because that by itself is a mine. That's 1 ore, and it's 2 money. So I'm going to be... yeah, so it's just me left. So I'm going to be exchanging that down. Not passing, sorry. It thinks I'm passing, so I'm going to just restart that. I'm going to be exchanging. That's usually what's there. And I'm going to be turning the 3 into 1 ore. And 2 more into coins. So now I have enough for a mine. And then I'm going to... I guess I may as well pop this down here, because I don't have use for that anymore. And then I'm going to... oh, I could federate this down. Okay, sorry, I've got thoughts coming out of every which way. But the way I do this is I can dig. Doesn't matter which I do. I'm going to do this one for now, because blue cannot charge power right now. I need to do at least one of these two, and then either that one or the other one that I don't do. So I may as well do the one that would give blue the most power now. So I'm going to do this, because a quick can become an ore. So I've used 1 ore and 2 money for the mine, and then 3 quicks for the dig. And then my bottleneck next turn now will probably be coins. Because if I just look here, they have passed on to that, so that's fine. These won't be so useful, although that's effectively an ore. So it's an ore and 2 money, which isn't bad. Range is no longer a problem for me. So I'm definitely going to be building on green planets next turn. I'm already on a couple. So as you can see here, I'm on 3. I'm going to be on probably 5 by the end of the turn, so that's 5 points. So I'll probably be passing on to that, so that's 5 money. So 4 money, plus the 8 I'm generating. It will be 12 money. So, yeah, will 12 money be enough? I think just for the options, I think I'm doing quite well in terms of the scoring. I'm going to be in all 10 sectors. I think I'm winning that. I can't see myself doing too well on this one, but I can see about that. But yeah, this one's a question mark. So quicks are effectively ores, or they might help me rescore a Federation tile, which could be useful. So there's a lot going on here. So what do I want? Because straight up points is useful, but if I can use those 2 to score a Fed tile, then I can get that 7 points anyway. Same for planet types. So the quicks are very useful. So the question becomes, I'm getting 7, 8 money income, plus the 4 that I'm going to be passing on to. So 12 money. So giving myself 20 money next round. That basically sorts any kind of money issues I have. But if I don't spend it all, then I'll feel that this was a waste. And I suppose I'm planning on getting another desert planet next turn anyway. So I'll definitely be getting the 8. If I need the money then, and I'll know I need the money then, I can do that. I think I take the quicks. It just gives me a few more options. Because I'm spending 3 quicks now as digs, so this just gives me a few more options next round. So now I pass. Go on to this here. So I know I'm getting points when I pass now. So I'm definitely building on this. So this, then thing. So it's much of a muchness really, but it means that I definitely get 2 in bowl, 3 to begin the round with, which might be useful. But yeah, the 12 money is handy. So the question becomes, do I take a tech tile? As I'm planning things out, this is my 20-point tile if I can get it. This is my 15-point tile if I don't get it. If blue decides to nab it, which they very well could. That's what I'm planning on doing. I'm not planning on getting to the top of another track. That's just, I don't think, worthwhile. Getting to the top of this track would get me, it would cost me 8 science. I would get it for 8 points, effectively. I would get 9 science back, so I'd basically be spending, I'd be getting a science and 8 points, and I could then get another one, I guess 4 and 8 points there. So it would be worth 16 points if I were to go to the top of there, assuming that blue doesn't. But blue could go to the top there. So I cannot beat them in that race. However, if I go up 1 here, I will have access to this. Sadly, I've already used all 3 of these to go up elsewhere, so I can't, and I've already used this one early in the game to get here, so I can't go up here between rounds. So the question becomes, which one do I take? Is it this one, which does nothing for me, or this one? And the answer is this one, because I know I'm going on at least 2 green planets this turn, so it's effectively a 6-point tile, like this was a 7-point tile. So it's, do I value these 4 tokens? Not really. If anything, they're going to just kind of bunch me up. Having 4 power cycling around is fine by me. I think, yeah, I think that's fine by me, just 4 power constantly cycling around. The faster it cycles, the better. And I'm going to gain... Oh, no, but I want to federate. So maybe it's not. Maybe I don't. I definitely want to federate. And so I'll need to burn tokens. So actually I think the answer is, sadly, I don't. Because I need to use those for federating. So it's going to be 1, 2, so I need 1, 2, 3, 4 over here. This is going to be my federation. And then I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I might be able to make another federation. It's unlikely, but I might be able to have a 3rd federation on the board. Just by the way, that because I'm having to build these yellow planets, it's less likely because how many resources they take out of you. But it's feasible. That's a shame. I was hoping to get that with my quick action. So they federated now, so they can get to the top of that track. So I'm going to federate immediately too. And I think it's sensible to take the 2 science, because that's gets me 3 science moves. And if we have a look here on my science, I can get 1, 2, 3 science moves for points. This is each step is a point, as I mentioned before. This one is whatever, you know, but this one I need to do to get up here. This one is effectively immediate resources that's useful. So I definitely want at least 2. I need to get, if I have a look at the resources I need to spend this round, I need to spend 3 for this dig or this dig, doesn't matter which. But one of these two is going to be dug by me, so that's 3 plus a 4th ore for the mine. This is a 5th ore, and then this is going to be a 6th ore. So I have enough ore, so I'm good on that front. I definitely need to have at least one quick to get on one of these two, but that's fine by me. But you can see that I'm fine on ore. In terms of money, it's 2 money for that or this, 2 money for this, and 2 money for this. So that's how I'm doing that. So now I need to think how I'm getting a new tactile, and the way I'm planning on doing that is by using the 4 quick action, basically, to get the tactile the same way I did in the last round. So I've now got that Federation. I'm going to take the science. Yeah, the more I talk about it, the more I'm convincing myself that this is the correct move. I don't need more money. I can't get more ore. Don't need more quicks because I've already got access to the quicks by going up the science. Do I convince myself otherwise? Do I take the quick, guarantee myself the quick action without any other issues? Yes, but I absolutely do this. The reason I absolutely do this is I need to go up here. So where are people going? That's fine. Just making sure that these aren't taken. It's only once these are taken that I worry. It's fine. Yeah, so this being here might have been sensible, but I put it here because it gives me options for both of these. I definitely want to take one of them. So my next action is to go up the science track. I need to push. There's a lot I need to push. I'd probably go up the research track then. Okay. So I do one there. So the reason I didn't take the science, by the way, the 2 science, I forgot to mention. I should have mentioned, but what I was going to say is when I take one of these tech tiles, whether it's this one or I have to settle for this one, I'm going to get the 3rd tech move. So I've got 2 tech moves, and then whichever one of these I take, I will move up the 3rd one there. I can create a super fed over here, but I think in theory I probably want more pips here. I've seen that that's gone, so my next action must be this. I cannot risk losing this or I lose all 10 sectors. This is a must do. This is why I put myself in range of both of them. So you can see about why one has to plan for all eventualities. So now I'm definitely in all 10 sectors, and I just need one of these 2. That gives me my final thing into bowl 4. So I'll probably take 2 ore, because that lets me dig more easily. But it's looking good. It is looking good. In terms of satellites, I'm not going to win. They're going to federate again. In terms of this sectors, I am going to win. So if we have a look, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8. And they've got here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9. So yeah, that's not looking fruitful for me. So number of feds is just, it's number of satellites is just not where I'm going to get my points. I'm trying to get points on the tech track and in the sector points. Because if we look at the research, I'm going to be getting 12, 24, 32. I'm going to go up. Okay, well, they took that. That tells me all I need to know. It means that, yeah, it just means that I'm only doing this for the 4 points. But that's all I do. That's all I do. So I'll be taking that to go here. But I'm currently not in any rush to do that. So now that I know that, I don't have to worry about that. And so now I have to consider instead how to get the most tokens. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so I'm going to build this on my turn. Because that is 1, 2, 3, 4 away. Why is it? I have no mines to build, which is awkward. I have built too many mines. Something I forgot about. That's the one thing I often forget about. So I will take the action. I definitely need. So I need 6 money and 2. 6 money for the 2 trading stations. Yeah. So I'm okay, and then 4 more money, which is 10 money total, to get the 2 mines down that I need. But the ore, I need 4. Yeah, I'm definitely in need of more ore. Right. Yeah, you can never have too much ore. Okay, so you can see here. Okay, I'm going to. Okay, I can't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. I cannot risk losing this action here. I need to take it before it's gone because someone has 4 quicks. I need to take this. So I'm going to take this because it's worth 15 points now rather than not being able to take one. So I'll take 15 points now, but guaranteed. And I will cover this because that's irrelevant. And I will go up I'll go up this track for now. Just because there's no way I'm beating Terrans up to that track. Whereas if I can get this extra Federation, it's technically possible. So I'm not going to rule it out until it has to be ruled out. So I need to upgrade both of these buildings first. Or at least I need to upgrade 2 buildings first. So it'll probably be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's going to be, what, 1, 3, 4, 5? So I don't actually need that in the Federation to make the Federation work. So that's fine. I don't think I'm losing that. So yeah, they got to the top of that, which I thought they would. I'm going to upgrade. So I definitely want to upgrade 1 and 2 because these are just definitely going to be in the Federation. And then yeah, so I'll do this one first just because why not? Then my next action is to build this mine here. The reason I need to build this mine here next, for sure, is that I need to just make sure I get to the 3 desert planets in order to just secure that victory condition. Because I'm on 2 of the 3 that I need. I'm in 9 of the 10 sectors because this hasn't been built yet, but it will be built. So, yeah. I'm quite glad this strategy seems to have come together quite well. So, let me work this out in terms of points. 7 points is obviously the best bang for buck. Do I need anything else from this? So if I... what do I need? I need... how many tokens? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I only have 4. In order to build... I'm going to be spending... Yes, give me the option now. So I'm going to be spending 4 of this ore and 2 money. So I have exactly enough money, so that's fine. I'm going to spend 4 of this ore, so I'll only have 2 ore. So I need 1 more ore, which is what this quick is, to build a trading post and a mine. Which means I definitely need 1 more... I definitely need 1 more token to get that Federation. It's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, okay. And that is definitely 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so it's definitely the 5 tokens. So I need the 2 quicks in order to get a Federation. So this is top strats. And it means I don't need to sacrifice any more points to get power. Whereas before I was relying on them to give me power in order to do anything. So, but the reason I want to federate is, and the reason I came up here first is now I can take this, which is going to be points. It's basically points. It's 4 plus however many green planets I'm going to be on, which I can, you know, I am now at risk of losing it. So this, I need to double check how many federations they've got. They've only got 2 federations, so I'm not at risk of losing it to them. They took that, and they took the top of the science track, so I'm not at risk of losing it. And they cannot federate again. They've got their 2 federations. They're not getting a 3rd one. So I'm fine. I'm the only person who can get to the top of that track. So I'm happy with that. So that's, yeah. I think, I mean, I may as well do this, just to say that I've done it. Because that means, you know, single pips and stuff might be useful. But yeah, so then I upgrade this one. Oh, I can't believe that this has all worked out. I'm in 10 sectors. I'm in 3 desert planets. So the question now is, do I win the game? Because that's not guaranteed. That's not guaranteed. Though, with those extra 5 satellites, I will go to 11, which will put me on par with this. It'll be 15 points there, so that's going to be handy. So this is trying to use every single bit of leverage to my advantage. It does look like I'm in 2 science of excess. That basically comes down to money at the end of the game. So I probably have excess points. You get 1 point for every 3 leftover stuff that you have. I probably get 1 point from that as well. And so this is how I think this, one of the ways in which you could play this scenario to success. So now, here we go. We put the mine down. We spend a quick as an ore, and the 2 money that we have. And so I'm going to have 2 science left over at the end of the game and 1 quick, because I'm going to be turning one of these quicks into a token in order to federate. So I don't need to be taking that power. So this is one of the reasons that we can say, nope, I don't need that power. I'm not reliant on it. I've worked out my strategy to the exact point. So I will exchange this 1 power down to a coin. I will then turn the quick into an ore, and the ore into a new token. And I will then federate. And I can federate, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, sorry, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's a valid federation, and it requires 5 tokens, which I have. And I will just want the one that's going to give me the most points. So, the one that gives me the most points, strangely, if we look at this, let's think. So, it's not this. Even though it's the one that, by numbers, gives me the most points, it's not this. And it's not this, because that's going to stop me, because it's not got a green side, so it's going to stop me from going to the top of the purple track. And I need to get to the top of the purple track, right? I've done this intentionally, so I can get 4 points from there. To go to the top of that track, because that's a step on the science track, so that's 4 points. It gets me 4 points by base, plus I'm on 5 green planets, so another 5 points. It's going to be 9 points, plus the 4 points for going up there, so that's 13 points. So it's really important I get up that spot. So if we look at the federations here, I have 6 science, so I mentioned I could get 1 point if I leave this, because I'll leave myself with 2 science left over, 1 quick left over, and 1 money left over, which is, as you know, it's 1 point plus 1/3 of a point. However, if I get the 2 science here, I will lose that 1/3 of a point. Sorry, I'll lose that 1 point there. I'll be getting 6 points here, plus 4 more points, which is 10 points. 10 points, so 6 plus the extra science move on the science track, which is 4 points, so that's 10 points total. Taking this is 8 points, and that's all it is. It's 8 points. And taking this is 9 points. Because this is 8 points because it doesn't put me over the threshold. I will then end the game with 5 things, which is 1.666 recurring points, or 1 2/3 points. This would be also not taking me over the threshold. It would be 7 points plus 2 resource leftover points, so 9 points total. So we can see here that this is actually the most points gained. And this is why we think about this kind of stuff while we're playing. So it's really, really important to kind of consider all of your options when you're doing stuff like this. So now that I've done that, I'm definitely able to get to the top of this track, because I've now got my stuff. Obviously, had I known the order of stuff, although there's no guarantee I would have got it, because they could have claimed something from me, it's entirely possible that this tile wouldn't have stayed around. If I had known that I was going to get the extra token, maybe I wait a bit and get the 5 points, but it was better late than never, and being able to take that early allowed me to take what I have done already, so I'm not sad about it. So that was my turn there. I've got 1 more science move, which, as we said, is worth 4 points, because every track move is worth 4 points. So spending 4 things, spending effectively 2 points to get 4 points is good. And then I pass. And so I've locked in, as we can see, 96 points before the end of the game, because I also passed for points for the number of green planets I was on, which was 5, so I passed for 5 points. So I've got 96 points, and I completed the challenge. So if we view the scoreboard, I won with 181 points, which is very similar to my test game, actually, as it stands. And in the test game, I actually colonized 0 desert planets. So as it turns out, the colonizing the desert planets didn't actually affect me that much. I'm actually quite surprised by that, because I think I got 183 without colonizing any desert planets. I think in part that's because I might have not been over-optimizing myself that much, just by virtue of the fact that the AI wasn't pushing me quite so hard. But, you know, that is the first scenario, and how I think it can be played. I've heard people on, I've seen on Steam and people online reading that they said all of the scenarios are quite difficult, and they said on that first one, getting 1 or 2 stars definitely seems kind of simple. 3 and 4 stars is a lot harder. That's the strategy I think is viable for that first scenario on 4-star difficulty. Feel free to comment and discuss with me whether you think there are other viable strategies, because I would like to hear. But also, I'd like to know if you'd like to see me give the other scenarios a go, kind of blind, and go in and just talk through my thought process from the get-go, or if you'd like me to do some of those dry runs like I did for this one, like a dry run on an easier difficulty, to then show it on the hard difficulty, kind of to theory test and theory craft myself, and then bring it to the actual video with a kind of complete game plan in mind, because there's not necessarily a way I know that people like YouTube videos to do, but if you'd like to see a complete way of doing it, then that's how, like this one, where I have played the scenario before, I'm happy to do that. If you would prefer that I kind of see it blind, and you want to see how someone reacts to seeing these kind of games blind, then just comment and I'll do what you say, basically, because I'm making these videos for you. Anyway, thank you very much, and have a lovely day wherever you are.